Let's turn over to Steve Milloy. He's an environmental attorney and senior policy fellow at Energy and Environment Legal Institute. So how bad is this, Steve?
Jesse, that was the best monologue ever. We don't know. It's very bad. I mean, the Ohio Fauci said this was just, like VOCs when you're pumping gas. No, this was vinyl chloride. And EPA has spent the last 50 years scaring the bejesus out of exposures to vinyl chloride. Train wrecks have been called, carloads of death. So vinyl chloride can be very dangerous. And the problem here is that EPA is not telling us what the exposures are in the air, in the water, in the soil. So we don't really know what's going on. This is after 11 days. We have no data. This is really shocking. EPA Administrator Michael Regan, as you pointed out, has not showed up there. What's he doing? He's, hawking electric school buses and cars, environmental justice. This is an environmental catastrophe. This is his job. But he's too much of an empty suit to care, or he can't do anything. He's just not there. And the same with Buttigieg. Buttigieg's guys should have been walking the rails to make sure that everything was going to be safe, but they didn't. And so we've had a catastrophe. This is just a failure of the Biden administration, a total failure.
So the two guys that are in charge of the environment and of the rails are both MIA, and it's been over a week. Is there some sort of cover-up going on here with this rail company?
Well, it's hard to tell with Norfolk Southern. I mean, they're going to be working closely with EPA. Let's just say that, EPA is in charge. EPA does not have a strong track record of honesty on any of this. You mentioned 9/11. EPA said the air was safe. It wasn't. The air was supposed to be safe around the burn pits in Iraq and Afghanistan. It wasn't. You brought up the Animas River. EPA lied about that. EPA also lied about Flint, Michigan, the water disaster there. I've spent 30 years working on EPA issues. EPA lies all the time. So I point the finger at EPA. I mean, Norfolk Southern's going to be trying to get out of this with as little, cost as possible. I don't think it's, really going to be possible unless they have help from EPA. And EPA wants to get out of this, too.
Yeah, the railway tycoons have probably staffed the EPA with their guys. And then their guys at the EPA probably leave the EPA and go work for industry. I mean, that's how it works pretty much every agency throughout the government.
Right. There's a huge revolving door in the government and at EPA, and it's a real problem. There's a real coziness. When EPA regulates you, you need to be EPA's friend, because if you're not, EPA is going to make your life totally miserable if you're a big corporation.
All right, well, they got to fire Mayor Pete. They got to fire this Reagan guy. Neither of them have showed up to this, as you called it, an environmental catastrophe. And we're going to stay on this story. Thanks so much, Steve. We really appreciate you joining us.
All right, Jesse, thank you.
Well, the Biden administration may be about to